Hello guys, good evening. How are you all? Good evening, Lalit. Okay, so before we start with the session, can someone just tell what did we discuss in the previous sessions in the Python? You're fine, Shravan. Great. Okay, then let's just start the session because it's already 7:07. Shweta, you can just start.
Okay, guys. Today's topic is list. List in Python are used to store the sequence of various types of data, like it will be like character type, integer type, and etc. And in Python, lists are mutable. That means we can able to modify the elements in the list after being created. And the lists are created by a separate square bracket, and with elements are separated by commas. And the list in under list is also called as a nested list. And the list item, it has been designed ordered, and it can be changeable, and it allows the duplicate in the list. It is in the list, the first element is indexed by 0, and second element is indexed by 1, and the next is going on this process. Here the list, it is stored like apple, banana, and cherry are the elements is stored in the list. Here it is indexed by 0, and banana is indexed by 1, and cherry is indexed by to this format. And some methods will see in a list in Python, like appending and adding a function. Appending means we need to insert an element into the list. We use an append function in the list. That means here in this L1, A, B elements, if she is already stored in L1, if I need to append the D to the list L1, that means it was added to the end of the last index in the list. So we can see this example like I'm creating the list L1 is equals to a comma C. Here I have created the list L1, and if I need to append the list element like D into that list, I will use append function like uh, L1 dot append to
Shweta?
uh, what?
Shweta, sorry to interrupt. Can you just increase the font?
Okay, okay,
Also, go a bit slow.
okay, okay. Is it okay?
Yeah.
Okay, just a second, mate. Now the PT slide is okay with font. Okay, will print L1. Here the D will be added into the end of the list, like so. Here I will append a value to the end. Now I have appended the value G to the L1, so that the G is at the end index of the L1. You can also use an okay. Just a second, guys.
Sweta, is there any issue, technical issue or something?
Just a second. I'll present it.
Seems like you missed flower braces in the coding code.
No, yeah. Is my screen is visible now?
No, 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 not yet. Just share your screen once again.
Okay, okay. Wait. Now is it okay?
Yeah, it's visible now. Visible now.
Okay. Sorry for the interrupt. This completed. The third one is append of the list is completed. If we need to insert an element in the middle or at any specified position, we use an insert function like we use here g is appended at the if we use append function, it will be appended at the last index, and if I need to append that g to the any position specified index like 1 or 2, we'll use a insert function like l1 dot.
Shweta, is there any problem?
Yeah, there's some
Is it
problem.
in your
Can you
PPT
continue?
or something?
Getting access will to present.
Okay, then after I take my topic, you can continue with list, Shweta.
Okay, okay, okay.
Is that okay? Until then, you just check with your
Yeah.
PPT and other technical issues.
Okay.
Okay, guys, so we'll just go with Lambda functions now. And later, Shweta will be continuing lists. Yeah, so is the screen visible? Yeah, I hope it is. So coming to Lambda functions are also known as anonymous functions. That is the reason, like why they are called anonymous function is because they don't have any name. So if you read the sentence over there, a function without any name is called an anonymous function. Generally, also if we fill any Google form or something like that, and where our name is not being known by the person who has created the form, we'll just call it as an anonymous entry. So in the same way, a function which doesn't have any name is called as anonymous function. So it is also known as a lambda function. Most commonly, people generally don't use the term anonymous function. Instead, they use lambda functions. It is an important topic because though it is not used much in this problem solving programming stuff, but then in your MCQs and all, in your exam point of view also, lambda functions is a very important topic. Next, anonymous function are not defined using the def keyword. Generally, if you have gone through our functions session, in that you would have understood that the structure of a function will start with a def keyword. Def followed by a function name and then a colon, and in the next line we have some indentation followed by some lines of code. That is how you define a normal function, a regular function. But then lambda function, in that you won't be using a def keyword. They are defined using the lambda keyword. So instead of a def keyword, we'll be using lambda. So you can see the syntax over here. First, it will start with your lambda keyword. and then you'll have an argument list. Argument list in the sense whatever arguments that, or I can say whatever inputs that the user is giving you. So in this here in the argument list, in the example, if you can see, it is lambda x colon print x. So x is the argument. So what it is basically saying is that the function will take one value from the user, that is only x, and the expression. So you'll have the lambda keyword followed by an argument list that will specify how many parameters you're taking from the user, colon the expression. What this expression does is that this is the main evaluation. In a general function, what happens after you write your def function name colon, in the rest of the body you'll have your logic, right? Whatever you want to perform again and again, that will be written in your body of the function. Here what you'll do is that after the colon you will be writing your expression, so your entire logic will be in form of one expression. A lambda function cannot have multiple expressions, only one expression must be that. So here you can see an example, lambda x colon print x. So what I'm just saying is that I'm just creating a lambda function where I'll be taking x from the user and I'll be printing it. Simple. In the second example, you can see that it's lambda x comma y. So I'll be taking two quantities from the user, that is x and y. And what will I return? X plus y. If you have observed, there's no written statement also in lambda function. So it will automatically return the answer. In your normal normal functions where you'll use your def keyword, you'll also have a return statement. But here you don't have to use any return statement. Next, calling a lambda function. How would you call a lambda function? First, you'll assign your function to a variable. Now, what you have here, sum equal to lambda x colon x plus 1, right? What I'm saying, I'm taking a value x from the user, and what I'm finding out, I'm doing an operation called x plus 1. Suppose I give 5 now. What should be get returned from the program is 5 plus 1, that is 6. So this 6 will go to my sum. And if I print, basically if I have a print statement here, print sum of 5, the output should be 6. Next, in the second example, you can see I'm assigning the same function that we've seen earlier, lambda x comma y colon x plus y. So this x plus y will be given to add, and that you are printing. So add 5 comma 2 should return me 7. So we'll just see this with the help of a compiler. One second, guys. I'm sharing my compiler. Okay, I hope it is visible. Done? Yeah. So what I've done here is that lambda x comma y colon x plus y. I've not given anything before this, or there are no lines of code before my add or whatever variable it is. What I'm just doing here is that I'll put print. Yeah, so you can see that we've got the output as 7. Right? In the same way, you can perform other operations also, like x minus y, if you give. Then what it should print? 3. Simple. So it's not only about performing these addition, subtraction, and multiplication operations. There's a lot you can do with lambdas, and we'll just see in the further slides, right? Yeah, so you can see this, right? Calling a lambda function is done. Now there are a few points that you have to note about this anonymous functions or lambda function. So as I mentioned, your lambda function does not have any name. You don't have to give it a name like you give for your definitions. Instead, you have to assign it to a variable, right? Next, Lambda function returns a function. It can return a function. And then lambda function can take 0 or any number of arguments, but only one expression. So I already told you in this previous example, expression has to be only one, but the number of arguments that you give, in this argument list section, you can give any number of arguments. You can give 10, 100, any number, but then expression must be only one. Next, going to the fourth point, in lambda function, there's no need to write return statement. Even this I've mentioned to you earlier. Like a regular function, you don't have to return anything. It will return on its own. Next, it can only contain expression and can't include statements in its body. Again, that's how it is different from the regular function, right? Only in a single statement, every single logic is involved. Next, you can use all the types of actual arguments, right? You're not restricted to anything. Any actual argument you're free to use. Coming to your nested lambda function. So similar to your nested functions, a function inside a function. So when we write a lambda function inside another lambda function, it is called a nested lambda function. So one simple example is that in my first function, what I'm saying, lambda and x is my argument equal to 10. I'm just assigning 10 to it. In my second function, what I'm saying is lambda y, that is I'll be taking y and I'll be performing x plus y. And if you observe here, I'm giving only one value, that is 20. How would it do this operation? Because x value, I've already given it to it before. So 10 it will be taking 10 from here, and 20 because I'm giving it while I'm printing, I'm passing this 20. So 10 plus 20, 30 will be returned. Clear? Is that fine? Okay. Going to the next one, passing lambda function to another function. So we can pass lambda function to another function. How can we do that? Just see. This is a normal function, def show of a. A regular function, how would you do? You're using a def keyword and you're using a not semicolon, a colon. And in the next line, you're writing your logic or whatever statement. So you're writing a print statement here. You're saying a of 8. What it is supposed to do? It is just supposed to print 8, right? Now, in this thing, what I'm doing is that I'm writing show of lambda x of x. This will not do anything. It will just return 8. If I just write x colon x into 2, then it is supposed to return me 16. You're understanding it, right? I'll just write down the code. Right, you can see here, right? The output is just 8, nothing much. That is how you pass one function, a lambda function, to a normal function. And next, moving on. Right. Yeah, so we just done with passing lambda function to another function. Now, how do you return a lambda function? So I told you, right, in a regular function, you will have a return statement. So in that return statement, what if I use my lambda function? So this thing can be done. You can return a lambda function in your regular function. So I have a keyword here, followed by my function name add. And then what I'm just doing here, I'm just saying y equal to 20, and I'm returning lambda x colon x plus y. And I'm saying a equal to add. Done. Now I'm just saying print a of 10. What will it print? Any guesses? Come on, guys, I need answers from you. Like, why are you guys so silent? Okay, fine, I'll just continue. So the answer in this case would be 30. It will return you 10 plus 20. Y value is given here. And I'm passing 10 here. So 10 plus 20 would be 30. So that would be the output. And coming to the last one, it is immediately invoked function expressions. As the name tells us, as soon as you write it, you don't have to do anything. See, basically what you do here, sum equal to lambda x colon x plus 1 and sum of 5. So the output is known. It will return x plus 1, that is 5 plus 1, 6. If I don't want two lines of code, I want it in a single line, what I'll do, I'll just do print lambda x colon x plus 1 and 5. So here only I'm passing my parameter also. In a single line, it will just get over. So immediately invoked function. As soon as you do it, it will get invoked immediately. And second example also, it's the same thing. Add lambda x comma y colon x plus y. And if you add 5 comma 2, you will get 7. So same thing in the single line also. Instead of taking it to the next line and again calling add 5 comma 2 separately, in the same line, beside that, I'm just putting some brackets. In those braces, I'm giving my parameters. So that is about this. If you have any questions, you can just ask. Is it 21? What are you talking about? Jatin, can you just be clear with your question? Or like, is that the answer to my previous question? Wait, I'll just show you that output also, so that will be more clear. Yeah. So can you see that? The answer is 30. It's not 21. You're basically adding 10 and 20, so it will return 30. So that should be clear. Shweta, can you take over now? In the meanwhile, guys, if you have any more questions, please ask. No mention, Jatin.
Is it visible, Vinita? Is it visible, Vinita? Okay, I'll
Yes,
continue from
Shweta.
some of I'll continue from some of the list in a Some of the elements in the list. The sum function is used to calculate the sum of all the elements in the list. Here, for example, like in the list, once the elements are being stored in the list, if we print the sum function, it will add up all the elements in the list and will show the output. And here we'll use the count function that here that calculates the occurrence of a given element. Like if we given any element that is present in the list, it will show that how many times it has been occurred in the list. We'll solve this one. Like I'll create one list, like some elements like 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. If I need to sum all the elements in the list, like I'll use a sum function like sum of L1. It shows like all the elements need to be summed up and give the result. Here the result shows like some of the elements in the list like 15. And also I have told you about count function. It's used to tell like if any element is repeated in the list, it will show like how many times that the element is repeated in that list. Like print of, use a count function like run out count of. I need to get like 2. Element 2 shows that the element 2 is how many times that it is being repeated in the list 1. So it shows like only one time it is repeated in the list. We'll go with next functions like length. Length function is used to calculate the total length of the list. Here the syntax is length of len. We use the function like len of list name. For example, like it shows like indexes from 1 to the elements are stored in this list. If we print that length of that list, it shows that the maximum index length, and the index may, and the other function like index shows the element that is to be stored in that in that list. Like here the elements like 1 2 3 1 2 1 and 2 3 1 are being stored in that list. If we print that listed.index means this element 2 is stored in which index it will show will go with the like I need to get the length of list 1. I need to perform the length function like print of length of list 1. It shows the length of the list 1, that is 5. That means the elements stored in the list 1 are total elements are 5, stored that its length are 5. So told that the index, how many times it been repeated, or that is count, and have told like index value. That means the element 3 I will give you, and that 3 will be stored in what index it should need to print. So that I need to get like element dot index function. Index of, I need to get a third element index. The element 3 stored in index 2. That means first one it is stored in, I have startingly I have told like for the element 1 is stored in index 0, then 2 is stored in 1, and 3 is stored in 2. So I need to get the index for 3 which is with the index is stored, so that it gives only 2. Now next one is min means. It will calculate the minimum of all the elements in the list. We'll go for minimum length or minimum function. We'll use the min function to get the minimum element in the list, and the maximum function that it calculates the maximum of all the elements in the list. So that we'll use a max function. Here it is the syntax. If I give a number of elements or the set of elements in the list, if I use a min function means it will give the min element in the list. If I use a max function means it will give the max element in the list. We'll also see this. Print of min and list 1. So it shows the minimum element in the list is 1, and will also see the maximum element in the list 1, max of L1. So it prints what is the maximum element in the list 1 is 5. It prints it. So other functions we can also see like sort and reverse. Sort means if we use sort function, it will sort in all the elements in the list in ascending order. If a reverse function if we use means it is also a sorting technique. That reverse is true means it is like descending order. It will print. We'll see this function sorting function. 11 dot sort means print of 11. It will sort in the form of an ascending order. Already is been in the form of an ascending order. It has printed like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If I need to get these elements in the list, one is in reverse order, I need to perform a reverse function like dot reverse sort of reverse is equals to true. So guys, here we got like 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 means it is getting like it is in descending order form. We'll see some more functions like we have seen like how to sort the elements in the list in ascending order, descending order, how to insert and not how to insert in middle of the position or any position, and we have also seen how to append the elements in the list. Now going for deletion of the list, we can perform in using pop function or del function. Pop function means if we used any index value in the pop function, that index value being taken out. If it is not mentioned any index value in that list, it will take out the last index value. Here, for example, in the list we have 2.3, 4.4, 4.4, 3, 5.3, all the elements. If I print the list pop of any index, if I not mentioned, it will take off the last index. That means 2.5 will be popped out. And here, if I print any particular index in it, here I have mentioned that index 1. That means a particular 3 element will be popped out. Here for the del function, it will delete the element of a particular index which we are mentioning. So we'll see that examples also. Print of and in the list 1, the last index value is, I have told you, after reversing the list, we have got the last index value is 1. So if I not mention any position or index in the pop function, it will take out the last index value that is 1 is popped out. If I need to get popped out like an index like or a 1 or 2, that index value will be popped out. We'll see that example also. And L1 dot pop of, I need to get the index value of 2. It will get the element of the index value at 3. That means at the third position, the index value is 3. At the second index value, the element is 3. That is popped out. So we'll see the slicing of the list. Slicing of the list means to access the range of the elements in the list from first range to last range or middle of the range. If we need to access that elements, we'll use the list slicing function. That its syntax is first in the list you need to function like first initial index value which need to access, and end index values you need to access, and if it is required, if you need to skip any function that will use that function here. The list in the list it has some stored values. If it will use the colon values to access that from separate initial index to end index or something. If I print like double colon with, I didn't mention any index here, so that it access the whole list here. So in the second print, I'll access from index 1 to 3. That means it is index 0, 1, 2, 3. Means here 3 will not displayed here. So maximum 2 will displayed. From index 1 to 2 it will display. Here I used 3 functions. In middle it is colon. That means it is the first index which I need to access, and it is 8 is the last index which I need to access in the list, and 2 is the difference between 1 and 8. The 2 values will be skipping. We'll see this one is also. I'll create separate one for this. Wait, oh, and come on. 9. I created 9 elements in this. I will perform a slice operation in this, like if I didn't give any index value specified within this range, it shows like entire list will become. Or if I mentioned any values in the in between the colon or starting index or ending index, it will perform or it will give that element from that range only. Will perform that code here. I need to access like from index range from 1 to 5. It will like yeah. It is first one is 0 index, and from starting 2 it is 1, and it up to 5th index value it will give. That means up to index 4 it will print. The last one is like skipping of the index. I have told you, like have to access like from first index to 8th index, but I don't want to give the elements like middle 2 sequence 2 is 1 to skip. Here it will print from 1 to 8. Oh wait. Even off. It will get like 1 to 8, but when two elements means between every 2 element, 1 element is skipping. That's called, that is end of the list. If any queries you raised, you just ask. That's it. Next.
So before we go with the doubts on lists, I've seen a few questions. Shravan has asked, why do we use Lambda functions? Like I've showed you a few examples, right, where you use a normal function and a Lambda function. So when you want to include small functionalities within a function, you can use this Lambda functions. Also, when you want to return, sometimes using your recursions, we'll use this recursion statements, right? At that time, you can use your Lambda functions also. Another thing is that whenever you don't want a lot of fuzz within your function, like you write a function and you have to return it, you have to call it, all that you don't want within a single line. If you want it just to make it simpler, in that case also you can use a Lambda function. And Jatin, we've not sent the PPT because none of you have asked for it. The WhatsApp groups and the Telegram channel that we have made, there are like absolutely no conversations going on. No one is asking for anything. The only thing that is asked for is attendance link. And as soon as you ask, we're providing that attendance link also. So Jatin, if you just post this message in the WhatsApp group, I'll surely share that. And any more doubts in the lists, guys? We'll just wait for 2 minutes and start with sets. How many of you have an idea of the set type? If you have followed the sessions until now, in the first session itself, I've covered set type in your data structures. So list, set type, tuple, dictionary, all this basic knowledge you would have had if you are attending it continuously. I've observed that I'm getting the replies like 4 or 5 minutes after I ask the question. So I'll just wait for 2 minutes, and by 7:50, yeah, by 7:50 I'll start with the set type. Okay, guys, it's 7:50 now. I'm hoping that there are no questions on lists or any doubts. So I'll just start with your set type. Let me share the screen. Okay, I hope the PPT is visible. Is the PPT visible, guys? Done. Okay. So coming to the set type, it is another data structure which is unordered. The reason why it is called unordered is that when you insert elements into a set, suppose you insert 1, 2, 3, 4, and you try to print that set, you cannot be sure that in the same order that you've given the elements, in the same order the elements also will get printed. So it might get, the output might be jumbled. It might be 3, 4, 2, 1 or 4, 3, 1, 2 or anything like that. It could be in a jumbled manner. So it is called an unordered collection of elements, much like a set in mathematics also. In a general set also in mathematics, whatever we've studied, even in that also, we never say that it is in ascending order or descending order, right? Same thing. The order of elements is not maintained in the sets. That is what I've told you. Next, it means the elements may not appear in the same order as they are entered into the set, right? A set does not accept duplicate elements. This is a very important functionality of a set. Even if you give 1, 1, 1, 1, 2, and you try to print your set, the output would be 1, comma 2. So it will be very useful with your, what do I say, problem solving programming in Python. Sets will be used a lot in that case. And set is mutable. We can modify it. Modify in the sense you can either add or delete elements, but you cannot access the element and change that particular element. Okay, sets are unordered, so we cannot access it, and we cannot access its element using its index. Like, it is different from a list. You've seen just now, Shweta has discussed that you can access an element with its index, right? That is not the case in your sets. You can't do that. Now, set are represented using curly brackets. Curly brackets, now this is something, a very important point you have to remember. Dictionaries will also use curly braces. Lists will use square brackets. Tuples will use parentheses, your general round brackets. And your sets will use curly braces. Dictionaries will also use curly braces. But the difference between set and dictionary is that in dictionary you'll have a key value pair, but in sets you'll not have. That is the difference. Remember about this parenthesis, because you just can't mix and match with curly brace. You cannot use a square bracket for set and curly brace for your list. It doesn't work that way. If you give list equal to curly brace, it will take as a set only. It won't take it as a list. So that you have to remember. And here is an example of how you give a set, how you declare it. So A is equal to 10, 20, 30, welcome Raj. It is not limited to only integers or float values or string, nothing like that. Altogether it can take. I hope that is clear about set. Now how do you create a set? A set is created by placing all the elements inside a curly brace separated by comma. Each element is separated by a comma. And a set does not accept duplicate elements. We have discussed this point earlier also. Now, elements can be of different types except mutable element like list, set, or dictionary. Got it? Next, you can see the examples, right? A is equal to 10, 20, 30. Another example of different types. You have an integer, you have a string, right? Again here. Now here I've given duplicate values, right? 10, 20, 30, welcome, Raj, 40, 10, 20. If I declare my set like this and print it, the output would not be the same. I'll just demonstrate that using my compiler. I hope the compiler is visible. I'll just say s is equal to 1, 2, hello, 8, 2, 1, hi, right? I'll just say int of s. So what it is giving me, it's giving me 1, 2, 8, hello, hi. How many elements did my original set have? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. But then in the output window, I've got only 5 elements. Why? The reason is that I have 2 duplicate elements. So it's not going to print duplicate elements. So you've got only 5 elements in the output window. So that is how you create a set. Now moving on to the next, creating an empty set. Because there's an ambiguity with your curly braces. Your curly braces can be used both for set and dictionary. A set cannot be, an empty set cannot be created like your empty list. Your empty list, what you can do is that, again, I'll share my compiler. This you can do with your empty list. You can just say l dot add of 1 and print l, right? Shweta, we don't have add in list. Shweta, are you there? Or should I just give an element and then only add would work? Maybe it's append, right? Append is the word. Yeah, it is append. It is add and set. So this you can do with your regular list, but in set you can't do this because, as I told you, there's an ambiguity. Your curly braces can be used for both for your set and dictionary. So what you have to do is that you should use your set function. Only then you can create a set. So that is what we've seen. And moving on to the next slide, accessing elements. I mentioned you earlier also because there's no indexing concept in your set. You know, you can't access a particular element using its index like your list. So sets are unordered, so we cannot access its element using your index. This cannot be done. So a of 0 cannot be done. And if you just say print of a, the entire set would get printed. So accessing elements cannot be done in your set. Next, modifying elements. Again, sets are mutable, but as we cannot access elements using index, so we cannot modify it. Modify in the sense, you can modify a set as a whole, but you can't modify an element in the set, right? That is what is the meaning. And then adding one element. We can add a new element to a set using your add method. So how would you do that? I was just trying this with my list, right? In the previous part. So you have to use that for your set. So I'll just suppose my set name is s and s dot add of new element. It would just add my element to the set. Next, adding multiple elements. So you can add your multiple elements using this update method. Update method can take your list, tuples, strings as your arguments. So even if you want, there's already an element in your set and you want to add a list of elements to that set, you can do that. How? Let's just see that first. First, let's see this add method. As that, okay, it's not add of 10 and I'll just say and that's right. You got a set with 10 and again I'll say s dot add of hello. So 10 comma hello should be the output, or hello comma 10, however it is. What I'll do is now I'll just say s dot add of a list of elements 1 comma 2 comma 3. Oh, sorry, it was not add, right? It was update. Yeah, so now what it is doing, it's giving me 1, 2, 3, 10, and hello. Remember these methods, guys. These are really important. If you get confused, you'll be, playing a lot with your others. That's how you learn programming also. But make a note of these methods. Add you will use when you have to add your individual elements like a string or a number or a float to your set. If you want to add a list or a tuple again or a set of numbers to your existing set, you have to use your update method. So that was about adding one element or multiple elements. Next, how do you delete an element? So in order to delete an element, we have two methods. One is remove and one is discard. Both serve the same purpose, but a slight difference in both of them is that when you use your remove method, it will raise an error, okay, if element is not there in the set, whereas your discard method will not do that. So what do we have now here? A dot remove of welcome. Suppose my list does not contain this element called welcome, it will throw an error to me. But if I use a dot discard of welcome, if welcome is present in my set, it will remove it. If not, it will not throw an error. So I'll just show that example. Okay, let me just discuss another point and we'll go with the execution part. And then copying elements. So copy method is used to copy existing set elements to another set. Why should we do that? Why can't we just assign S1 equal to S2? Even that will copy the set elements, right? If I say S1 is equal to 1, 2, 3 as a set, and I'll just take another set S2 and I'll assign S1 to S2. Even that will do, that will copy. But in that case, what happens is that whatever operations I'll perform on S1, that will also affect S2. If I don't want that to happen, I'll use this copy method. This will be more clear if I show it using this compiler. So first, let's go with this deleting of element. Comma 2, comma 3. Hello. Hi. 30, 20. Right? And I'll just say s dot remove of 10. And I'll say print s. What it will do? It will throw an error. If I say remove 1, it is removing. If the given element that has to be removed is present in the set, it will remove that element and it will print, because I'm giving a print statement, it is giving my set after removing that element, right? If it is not present, like if I give 10, it is throwing an error because it's not present in the list. But in the case of discard, it is not throwing an error, unlike remove. Because 10 is not present in the list, it's not doing anything basically. If I give 1, it will remove 1 and give me the list. So that is the difference. Why do we have to use remove and discard? Why two methods? Why not only remove? What's wrong if we get an error? When in your problem solving questions or whatever in your competitive coding, if you want to delete an element only when it's present in the list, there's this condition, right? Again, you can't put a for loop and say if I is present in the list only, then you have to remove. Instead of doing that, if you just use your discard method, it's simple. So in one line you can complete it. So that is why discard and remove methods are useful. Okay, why doing all that? I'll just say s1 equal to s. Okay, let me just show you the difference first. And I'll say s1 dot remove of 1, and I'll say print s, and I'll say print s1. So what I'm doing, I just want to remove 1 from s1, but it is removing this thing 1 from both my s and s1. I don't want that to happen. Even if I write s dot remove 1, 1 is getting deleted from both s and s1. So what I'll do is that I'll just say s1 is equal to s dot copy. Right? Now what it is doing? In my s, it is removing the element 1, but in my second set, that is in s1, it is not removing. So that is the reason your copy method is useful. Next, moving on to the next slide. Guys, just give me 1 second. The battery is low. Okay, guys, I'm back. So in the meanwhile, if you have any questions among the methods that I've discussed, you can ask in the chat box. So we've done with your delete and copying of elements also. Next, moving on to the next slide, what do we have? We have clearing all elements. If you want to remove all the elements from your set, what do you do? S dot clear. That's it. It's a very simple thing. Again, in your problem solving only, this will be useful, nowhere else. Clear method. And here are some other methods: intersection, union, difference, is subset, and is superset. These are some of methods that you can use on your set. Okay, that is the end. So let us just go with this implementation. Okay, we're supposed to do what? S dot clear, right? I'll just do s dot clear and I'll print s. So what is supposed to be displayed? Set, an empty set, right? So that is how your clear function will work. And this is s, right? So I'll just take one more thing. Okay, this is a bit complicated. I'll remove all this for your clear understanding. And I'll add 2, 3, 9, 8, right? And I'll show you these examples, intersection, union, and stuff. So I'll just say first s dot intersection of s1. and I'll just say print S3. Yeah. So what it is doing, it will obviously return the common elements in both the sets. My S set contains 2 and 3, and my S1 set also contains 2 and 3. So the common elements from S and S1 will be printed. This is how intersection works. What about union? Similar to our sets in your normal mathematics also, it will give me the union of all the set minus the intersection. I mean, it will not give you the repeated ones, right? That is how your union works. And what was the other one? Difference, right? Yeah. So what does difference do? I'll just remove my S1 elements from S, right? Is 2 present in S? Yes. So 2 is removed from my S. 3 is present? Yeah, you will remove 3. 9 and 8 are not present. So you'll not, it's not like your general math. If you do 5 minus 6 minus 1 will be written. It's because you're dealing with elements. You might be familiar with your general sets also in mathematics, right? Difference is what? Whatever elements are present in the set, you will remove those elements. If I just say S1 dot difference of S, it works the other way because 2 and 3 are present. It will remove these, and 9 and 8 are getting printed. So that is how your difference works. And for your superset and subset, let me just modify your sets a bit. Okay, this should return me false because why? S1 is not a superset of S. Instead, it is a subset, right? So what this is subset and is superset will return a boolean value. If it is if my set I'm comparing with the second set, if the first set is a superset, it will return me true. If not, it will return me false. That is how your superset and subset work. And yeah, that is the end of set types also. If you have any doubts, please post it. Also, just wait for 2 minutes, guys. I'll be sharing the attendance link in the meet itself. I mean, uh, during the session itself. Yes, guys, we are open to questions. You can ask us any questions related to Lambda functions, lists, and set. Also, from now on, please give us review. Like how are we teaching? How can we improve? Do you want more examples? Do you want us to discuss more programs, or you just are liking with this theory? So that you can understand the concept better and even we can improve ourselves. Can we insert elements into a set? Yes, Shravan, using the add method. I showed you that, right? Again, I'll show it. I'll just say s dot add of hello. So it will just get added like this. You can't insert it at a specific position like you can do in a list, but then you can add an element to a set. Add or insert. I hope that's clear. Any more questions? We'll just wait until 8:20 for the questions and just end the session. Clear? Okay, Shravan. Yes, Sai, the link will be posted. Karthik, are you there? If you're there, please post the attendance link. Or I'll just do that. Yeah.
I will share the attendance link in the Telegram group. Anything? Yeah, in the Telegram group and WhatsApp.
Okay, Shravan, thank you. Okay, Karthik. Okay, guys, so the attendance link will be shared to you in the Telegram group itself. And what about the suggestions? I asked you guys for some suggestions. You'll just tell us in the form. In form also does not require a field, so not many of you are giving us any feedback. More examples. Okay. We'll definitely make sure to give more examples in the next session. And one more thing is that we've told you that the Python series and C series would be for 6 weeks, right? The C programming series will be completed with the next week, but then Python we'll be extending it for 1 more week. That is 2 more weeks from now. Your Python series also will be done, and the ones with attendance, like 90% attendance, will be given the certificate.
I think we can wrap up the session, I guess.
Yeah. Yes, Karthik.
Thank you, guys. Thank
Okay,
you for
guys.
joining and keep interacting and keep learning.
Thank you.